Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Divide by Sheep. Let's hop into the next puzzle. We have two more puzzles in Ice World, then we'll jump to the next world. I'm hoping for some variety in the next world so we aren't just constantly, I guess struggling might be the word to use with these puzzles. First thing you would do would be to just swap this. And that will lose some wolves for you. And then I just question if I shouldn't toss these guys here. And then that gives us our 4. And here's a 6. They could be turned into a 5 if we can just get everything over there. So the first step here is just to get to 3. And that worked. So then if I split something here, like that, and then add that, there's our 5. And then it's just going to come down to the math, I think, on this. And how do we want to play this? If we split it this way, I think you're pretty well stuck that way anyways. So it's two choices, really. I'm gonna go this way. That's gonna leave us with 2 and everything just satisfied. Ooh. And that didn't work. But it did put us close enough that I do think that we mostly made the right moves there. The only real mistake may have been just some timing issues. Let's see. This is at 4. So we do that. We could just put one here. Or we could have kind of left things here. That's going to split to 3. Then this will lose 1. Split to that point. And so last time we split it like this. This time let's try it like this. That 2 just leaves you with 3. So I think the move may just be to do something like this. Well, not even do that, just do this. And that's our 5. And that's that. Unfortunately, that always is just going to leave you with 1 on the side. So it feels like there must just be a bigger trick to this. It probably is something just simpler. Like you do this here, and then you split this. And then by splitting that now, that does what for us? I don't think that works for us particularly well. You can do that. Then you can do that. Then you can do that. But then you've just lost so many. And you still run into the split problem here. So the last move has to be that there is only 4 things here. So then the next step is, how do you just get 5 from this spot? That is questionable, certainly, as to how you would get 5 from this spot. There are, let's see, subtracting this 4, there are 3 spots here. So we can only lose 1. I just don't follow. I just don't follow how this would all break down. Seems like you're always going to kind of force yourself one way or another to lose more. Right. So that's 1 that could be lost. And then you come over here and you split that. And then there's 3. But yeah, unless you had 5 here maybe, and you did the middle with 5, this will just split back that way. Yeah, I give up. Let's move on. Let's just move on to the next puzzle. This should be the last puzzle for this level. Now, if we try to swap here, the fence still stops us. So this is effectively a swap here and a swap here. Which I guess if you did this, and then you did this, that'd leave you with 1. And I guess then maybe you pull the 1 back this way. You need a 1, a 2, and a 3. So this 4 could, I guess, be brought down to being a 3. And then we would need a 2, so you would bring this down here to this. Make that a 2. Okay. And so then the move here is to just not swap anything. And so the laser and the bounce back seem like they are completely frivolous elements in this puzzle. But maybe not. Because now we can't move the 3 back here. And yeah, regardless of how much you slice and bounce, you're still only going to end up with 2 there. Okay. So I would assume what you end up needing to do here is you need to get the smallest numbers on this side. So that 1 is correct. But then the 3 here is kind of incorrect. So to get to a 3, I guess you just go that way. But then you can't get to a 2 at all. So getting to 2 seems like it's some other trick. 3 cut in half would not really work. If I split these, that's not enough. That's not enough remaining at all. Did we already finish this puzzle? Yeah, we did. I would rather just move to the next world than spend even another minute on that puzzle. Like, I'm trying very hard to maintain momentum, so let's just go to the next puzzle and see what the next concept is. So for the first time in many episodes and many puzzles, we see death coming back. We see what looks like the introduction of pigs. We see some kind of resurrection tiles, and we see a lot of drowning. Maybe these aren't resurrection tiles, maybe these are starting yourself on fire tiles. But yeah, all of a sudden the game feels very different, and I believe the focus of the game has shifted just completely. I don't think that there is a goal now to get the living sheep to the top left. I think the goal is literally to kill the sheep. And so this first puzzle, if you didn't figure that out with the little animation, is probably designed to force you into that movement. So, how can we kill the sheep? You would do this. Yep. So the entire game has just changed now. And so they just need to be groups, I assume, but you could do it in multiple groups, would be my assumption. So tossing this here and losing 2, and then tossing this here and losing the rest. Now the danger in this is that it actually is just going to prove that this later half of the game is actually super easy, and the early puzzles are just too difficult for no good reason. That was wrong. It's just completely different way of thinking now. Completely different way of thinking. but you can't really interact any further with any of this. So then you really are just taking a 6 here. And or this is 7. 7 minus 5 would be 2. It honestly feels like there should definitely be hovering numbers. So here's our first attempt, is just to ask this question. That is wrong. But we are going to get a mix now of what we're going for. So 5 minus 2 would be 3. This then would be 1. But would that leave us with enough sheep? Minus 2 would be 2 being lost here, and then 2 being lost here. Then I guess dying probably doesn't matter unless the death boat is there. So then this really is just going to come down to, can we actually kill 6? I imagine the answer is probably no. Would have had to have lost 2. So every single move now is going to be scrutinized, like very thoroughly. So we just don't want to lose any extra lives. Wrongly. So probably something like this. Get to 2. And then probably something like this to lose 2 more, but maybe not. Maybe it is just something like this, because then that clears off all the possibilities on these top 2, and then that does just leave us with that and then that. Okay, good progress there. So it definitely does have the feeling that you're just considering all parts of the equation now. And it definitely feels like regardless of what you're going to do, you're going to end up losing just a lot of lives. So perhaps the best move is to just save as many sheep to start with. Then we've got to lose 5 that way. And then by saving as many sheep as possible, we did have enough to get the 3rd star. So it's conservation. Only lose things when you need it. So we want 5 at some point, which would be 3 and 2, but we need 6 to be lost here, which I think would be fairly rough. We kind of do know that these with the fences are only going to be used for deaths at some point, but don't think that inherently means that they're all going to be used for death. I kind of do feel like what's going to happen here. So we're going to need, say, this much to then, what? Well, this would lose 3. Is that the right number? Let's see. This would lose 3 if it jumped that way. And then this could lose 3 if it jumped that way. But then clearly we need to eliminate some this way. So if I do this, we'll lose 2. And then if I jump this way, I would lose 2. If I did this way, that would lose 1, and then that would lose 5. So that kind of works. Kind of. And then I guess the move here is we just don't want to lose too many things before we have to kill 3 things. So this to this spot kills 3 things. This to this spot only kills 1. And there's just not enough sheep left to do it. You do this, you do that, and then there's 1 short. Which, yeah. Unless it was going to be a case where Death was willing to swing his scythe, all I can do is that, and that will kill 1. And then you do that, and then you just fail. But yeah, continuing down the trend here, I just don't want to spend too much time on these puzzles. And so we're in the Dark World, and everything is just changed, and I assume Spring World is going to play somewhat like that, and World of Ruins is going to play somewhat like that, in that they'll probably add 1 new gimmick that won't change too much. Generally in games, if you do add a new gimmick, I would like to be able to go and use that new technique or that new gimmick in previous worlds, even if it just completely breaks the attempt. Play a dark version of each level is something that like a Nintendo game would definitely consider as a flip side version of each puzzle, particularly since all the layouts are very similar here. What that would probably end up doing is taking a lot of these later puzzles and hiding them behind a secret Dark World version of the original puzzles. So you would see originally that it would feel like there was less puzzles, but that really works, and Nintendo really has proven that. Instead of having 30 puzzles times, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 worlds, have 2.5 worlds basically worth of puzzles, or get it down to like 20 puzzles times 5 worlds, whatever, however the math would split there, and then have dark versions of the green world. And maybe you introduce the dark versions about halfway through the process, or maybe you let players get all the way to the credits. Nintendo games have had this interesting evolution in that a lot of Nintendo games kind of do hit the credits about halfway through, and you can continue to play, but you're not really being required to continue to play. Sure, that makes the game more beginner friendly and more baby like, but when you look at the statistics and just see, even on Steam, that a vast majority of players never make it to the credits in most games. It clearly is the case that games should have an ending, and then there should be an after the credits section of games, in the same way movies nowadays often have after the credits scenes or sequels, teasers, things like that. Although in all fairness, an after the credits scene is only a minute or two, where video games need probably about half of their content hidden behind and after the credits section. With the star system, you almost approach the same thing. As we look at this, I do have 178 stars, so I almost certainly will unlock Spring World, and it might get a little bit difficult to get enough stars to unlock Worlds of Ruins with the way I'm playing at the moment, but I bet it isn't going to be that difficult. And so for me, I'm effectively making that same situation where, even though we got 90 stars in the first world, I definitely would have to come back and do the ice world. I definitely would have to come back and do some puzzles in the dark world, and it will be true for every other section, I'm sure, too, if I am going to just try and get all the stars. Which I'm not sure I will, because also by trying to speed run through these puzzles, I'm not really appreciating them much. A major part of that is the lack of variety, but yeah, I'm certainly not making it any better by having this flippant attitude towards each of the puzzles and trying it just once or twice and then moving on. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.